WNYathletics.com would like to thank today's sponsors. Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Ready to sell your home? Visit howardhanna.com today. Howard Hanna. Home happens here. Western New York Immediate Care, with 4 convenient locations in the Buffalo area: Amherst, Buffalo, Depew, Lancaster, and Orchard Park. Western New York Immediate Care is now offering telemedicine services to provide you care anytime, anywhere. Visit WNY Immediate Care on-site or virtually at WNYimmediatecare.com. Logistics Plus Buffalo is your go-to resource for all your transportation needs. LP moves freight of all shapes and sizes all across the world. Call LP Buffalo today at 716-877-9653 or email buffalo@logisticsplus.com. Ad Pro Sports. AdPro is the largest team sports dealers and brand merchandise providers in the nation. For a variety of custom merchandise solutions, from apparel to promotional items, visit adprosports.com. Empire Electric. For all your home, business, or office electrical needs, call Empire Electric at 716-634-0330. Free estimates and financing available for all customers. Empire Electric. Call 716-634-0330.
All right, and welcome into the Week 6 edition of the Friday Night Final Drive. Francis Beck, joined by Jack Cruiser, back in the saddle with me, second time this season. Jack, we're in for a fun slate of games today.
Yes, sir. I'm pumped. I love this Friday Night Final Drive show. You know, we've got 8 games that we're going to bounce between for you tonight, so keep it locked in for Red Zone style coverage. 8 games, and already we've got some high scoring so far across all of our games in Western New York tonight.
All right, let's bring you that Octo box, and Jack, we have 8 games up on our screen. Our folks can see them. Why don't we update those 8 games right now? Why don't you start with the first 4? I'll take the next 4.
Sure. So we'll start at the top left of your screen. There's Southwestern and Fredonia, where the Hillbillies are currently on top 7-zip in the first quarter. A nice drive ended with a 30-plus yard Whitfield catch and run, giving the Fredonia Hillbillies the 1-score lead there. Next to them on the top of your screen, that is Frontier and Jamestown on the center left column on the top there. 20-0. The Red Raiders of Jamestown on top in quarter number 2. Our third game going across left to right. Lancaster, Bennett, as you see, the Legends on their home field trying to drive into offensive territory there. Still no score between the Legends and the Tigers in quarter number 2. Finally, for my section, at least in the top right of your screen, is Grand Island and Kenmore East, a battle of winless teams so far this year. One of those 2 teams will walk out with a win today. Currently, it's a dogfight. Kenmore East went up 7-0 thanks to a Michael Bly touchdown run, the quarterback taking it himself in quarter number 1. After that, most recently, we're awaiting the extra point on Grand Island, Kenmore East, as Grand Island has now responded, 7-6, awaiting the PAT.
All right, game number 5. They're going to the bottom row on the left. You can see Salamanca is at home. They're up 7-0 over Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton. Game number 6, still no score between Pioneer, South Park. First quarter of that game in a non-league battle, but it looks like Pioneer may be inside the goal line, so we'll be in there in just a second. Game number 7. Bottom right side, it's Will North 7-0 over Orchard Park second quarter. And then game 8, we have Williamsville 6-0 over West Seneca West. Jack, I think we make our way to game number 6.
Sure, why not start right
We'll send you back to our Octo box right now.
Well, I'll tell you, Francis, going back to that last game that we just saw, as we may have some action down in Will North and Orchard Park as well. But that South Park field goal kicked against them by Pioneer. Good for Pioneer to get points early in this one. Pioneer, a B1 school playing South Park out of the A3, so a non-league game doesn't mean much at this point in the season, except for building things, of course, heading into the postseason. Both these teams looking to make playoff runs. South Park, obviously, a couple wins away from a number 1 through 3 seed. They can win their division in the next couple weeks. Currently 4-0 in A3 play, but Pioneer getting points there is big from a positive side. On a negative side, South Park's not kicking any field goals.
Nope.
They don't have a kicker. So that 3 points, good to get points. Will it, hurt that they didn't go for it on fourth down there? Get 6 points on the first drive of the game. Could have been crucial for Pioneer. We'll see how that plays out there.
All right. We do know Will North and Orchard Park are tied at 7, 5:45 to go in that second quarter. I'm looking at the screen now. Am I seeing game 2 going into the red zone? All right, we're going to head to game 2. That is Jamestown and Frontier. And it looks like Jamestown does score. Why don't I bring in Jake Fyock and Tim Chifa on the call here?
Up and let his athlete go get the ball. Amazing job by Farina, just going up and get it at the highest point. I mean, that was a minute all the way down the field. I mean, that's.
They started with about 3 minutes and 12 seconds, so almost about a minute and 50-second drive, and Profiter's point after try is good to make this 27-0 in favor of Jamestown.
We'll transfer now over Southwestern and Fredonia. Looks like you get a look at Southwestern in their home blues. They're starting out in their own territory, looking to move the ball downfield. We'll head back to our octagon box here of all 8 games going on.
Special offense, Jake. It really is. This team has a chance.
There's
that was
Chifa.
that was the Jamestown audio left over there. Let's see what else is going on. I see game 3. It looks like Bennett has the ball inside their own 20. That game still no score against Lancaster. Let's see, trying to look a little forward there. Why don't we head to game 4? It looks like Grand Island has the ball. They have an important fourth and they have a 4th and goal coming up. Let's head there inside their own zone.
Looks like this is.
Oh, they're going to punt it away.
This is 4th and a bit. Well, hey, this is the punting channel for high school football. You want punts? We got it. Here we
bring
go.
you every play from every game, and it looks like we are going out to game 3. And it looks like the Tigers just scored. That's number 7, Jaden Lewis, who just ran into the end zone on a long run. So the Tigers are going to take the lead in that one, pending the extra point, 2-point conversion try. We know, of course, Lancaster coming off last week, that big 7-0 win. That big 24-20 win over Canisius last week at a long-awaited game. So that is a good one there. Although it looks like there's a penalty, so it looks like they're going to take this one back.
So crucial, especially in a game like this in AA between Bennett and Lancaster. These are 2 of the best teams in Western New York, 2 currently tied at number 1 in the Buffalo News large school poll. So these 2 teams know that this is a massive matchup, not only for the landscape for Western New York football, but also in AA. Both teams currently undefeated within conference play.
And we're going to head to game 5, where it looks like Salamanca just scored another touchdown. Looks like they're up 21-0 pending an extra point, so they must have went for 2 on one of their earlier tries. We know Salamanca facing Chautauqua, Westfield, Brockton. They're coming off, though, that tough 15-10 loss over Southwestern last week, and an important game in the C-South division. So it looks like the Southwestern taking on a little frustration this week after that loss. They have a 22-0 lead. Why don't we head back to our Octo box? in this one. Jack, let's see what else is going on. Do we have any other games? Trying to look in the red zone.
Not that I can see from here, but I do want to mention a couple of key storylines going into this weekend. That Fredonia Southwestern game you mentioned, obviously with Southwestern's win today, they would clinch the C-South division, and we'll dive in deeper later on how the playoffs may shake out with results as they come in tonight. But Southwestern can clinch the division and a playoff spot in the top 3 in Class C with a win tonight over Fredonia. If things go the other way in that game, where Fredonia currently leads 7-0, then we're talking about tiebreaker scenarios up the wazoo, as both teams would be 3-1.
All right, I have a scoring update from the Twitterverse. It is Franklinville-Elkinville up 25-0 over the Panthers. We're going to head to Game 3, where it's take 2 for Jaden Lewis, and he gets into the end zone for a touchdown. It looks like there's no flag, so Lewis gets in the end zone. Bennett up 6-0, pending an extra point or 2-point conversion. So no harm, no foul.
Well, there was a foul on the play, but it definitely, that's the explosiveness of the Bennett Tigers within minutes. No matter how many times they're going to get called for holding and other penalties, they're still fighting through, and they're still making big plays down the stretch. And in a big-time game, to not lose that touchdown on this drive and not go 3 and out following the penalty, you talk about the resilience a team faces over the course of a season. That's a big-time moment, and players stepping up at a big moment to make a big-time play, though the 2-point conversion, no good. So Lancaster responds immediately with their own big play. That stoppage of the 2-point conversion, Francis, we talked about it last night in a big game on Thursday night high school football on our network with Sweet Home and McKinley. When a team doesn't kick and they go for 2 and they're pretty automatic at it, the coaches start to fall behind, and they're losing 8-0, and then they score, but it's 7-8, and they're still losing, and then they go for 2, and then they miss. It seems like those teams always chase those without a kicker, just in the essence of they're losing points every touchdown. But you see here a big stop for Lancaster over Bennett on the 2-point conversion. Now Lancaster can go ahead and kick if they score on this next drive, and they'll be up 7-6. That's massive moving forward in an early play in that game.
All right. Speaking of kickers, Cole Keller just hit an extra point for Medina. Mustangs up 42-0 with 11:50 left in the second quarter. I believe Medina has a non-conference game. Yeah, they're hosting Springville in a non-league game, but Mustangs taking care of business against a Springville team looking for their first win. We're going to head to Game 7.
How about the Falconer Golden Cougars? Falconer, Cassadaga Valley, Chautauqua, Valley. It's like 5 schools combined with Falconer, but Falconer, regardless, they're up 42-6 over their opponent tonight. They're at Dunkirk, who's still looking for their first win on the year. But Falconer, in the first half, looks like they'll be resting some starters in half number 2.
All right, it appears Williamsville North just scored over Orchard Park, although I am seeing an injured player on the field. You can kind of see that. So we're going to go back to our Octobox, but we will have that update for you in that one. And we have our Tom Prince there, so he'll send us an update as well in a few minutes, I'm sure, as well. We're looking at our Octobox right now, trying to see who's the closest right now. Just hit a big play in the Game 8. So why don't we head out to Williamsville East? Or it looks like the Indians have the ball. It's looked like they're going to be, they're going to be just outside the 30. The Indians up a point, 2 minutes to go in the first half. A chance to add on to their lead against the Flames, who, again, we talked about it earlier, were upset last week against Kenmore West.
Yeah, Williamsville East still vying for that number 1 seed in their division in the A2. Williamsville East 3-1 so far. Oh, look out on a fumble. That's not good for West Seneca West. But Williamsville East still fighting for that number 1 spot within A2 with McKinley. Of course, the Macs took down Sweet Home last night in overtime, so that brings them the game in hand over Williamsville East. Well, the game in hand to Williamsville East is here tonight, so we'll see what they can do with it. But after dropping that game last week, Francis, Williamsville East not only needs this win to stay alive in the divisional rankings, but if they lose tonight, I mean, you're talking about a potential.
This is very scary. That would be
Yeah.
a very dire situation for them. As we're going to head over to game 1, where it looks like Fredonia is nearing the red zone. They're up 7-0 against a Southwestern team, which is currently leading their division after a win over Salamanca last week in that one. We do have a scoring update, though, from Williamson North. It is 13-0, the Spartans, with 156 to go in the first half of that one. Thank you to Tom Prince for sending that one, as we have Fredonia 2nd and 10. You know what? Why don't we hand it over? We have Norm Rodriguez and Colin Wood. Why don't we hand the call off to them?
Deep in their own territory, try not to break.
And this is going to be a give to Davis. He will cross the 20, and he'll get it to about the 18-yard line after being brought down by a gang of Trojans. And 2 of the main ones on the stop were Hayes, as well as number 70, Will Pavlock. So it'll be 3rd down and 5 for Fredonia. They are in field goal range. If they weren't not to get anything this next play, it would be about a 37-yard field goal, and Tabone is their kicker. He's also a soccer player for Fredonia as well. Oh, somebody jumped offside for Southwestern, so it's going to make it. The yardage should result in a 1st down because it was 3rd down and 5. And that's a big penalty by Southwestern.
Yeah, that was number 70, Will Pavlock. Just got a little antsy right there, and, that's what they used to tell the defensive linemen all the time, just watch the ball. You know where it is. You don't know the snap count. So as soon as that ball moves, as soon as you see the hand motion of the center, go back, shoot the gap.
So it's going to make it a 3rd and 1, so there wasn't enough yardage by inches for it to result in a 1st. So 3rd and a yard, and Fry's going to give it off to Davis, and it looks like he got it. So it is enough for a 1st down. You don't need a lot. You just need enough, and Davis got enough. So the Hillbillies, they're knocking on the door, knock on wood.
Oh, Norm, was that a shout-out to me? Or did you do that? You didn't do that on purpose.
Nope.
Okay, I was just wondering. But, yeah, right now, this Fredonia offense chewing up the clock, and if they score here, they also get the ball to start the second half, too. Remember, they forced an early out for Southwestern on their first drive.
Yep, and they won the toss, and they deferred. So pistol formation for Fry, sending Whitfield in motion. It's a give to Davis again, but this time he's got nothing. The Trojans break down the stone wall for.
All right, we are over now. Grand Island. You can see the Vikings are on the move right now inside the 10. It looks like they have 2nd and about 4. Down, of course, 14-6. About 3 minutes to go in this second quarter.
Grand Island currently looking to tie things up here. This would be big to get this score. They haven't led yet today. Well, outside of their first score, when they. No, that was Ken Maurice. I beg your pardon.
Touchdown!
7-0.
So the toss sweep to Micah
Here we
Davis.
go.
He gets
Fredonia
in for his first touchdown of the
doubles up on
game,
Southwestern
his
in
6th
the
touchdown
first
run of the year.
And if we go back, because it looked like Grand Island was going to go in, but the running back was stopped just short on that one. So Grand Island, it looks like that's going to give them enough for a 1st down. So 1st and goal. We'll go back. And
Owen
check out
Rush
the
was
replay
pulling around. He is the left guard on that side. He pulled
looks like
around
they
the
just did
edge,
the replay, but,
and he was coming like a
Fredonia
freight train down the
is
line.
gonna be up in, this
How Davis
one,
to cut that one back up in,
13
and
to
now
nothing, pending the extra
it's not
point. You can
panic
see
time
the
for
total yards
Southwestern,
right
but they
there.
got to make
That's
something
right.
happen on
Yeah,
offense.
139 for Fredonia,
And the extra point,
41
another
for
beautiful kick by
Southwestern.
Tabone.
Not good for the
14 to
Trojans.
nothing with 3:43 left in the
They're
half.
down 14 to nothing.
And
in this
Southwestern,
one.
they
Why
do
don't
have a
we-
chance to get some points
Well,
on the
I just
board
wanted to
before
mention that the
halftime.
Southwestern team,
Still
you can
too
see
early to
two of them
panic.
on the screen
14
here, but this
points.
Fredonia team being up 14-0 on Southwestern, massive, because Southwestern's led by their running backs, and they've got 2 quarterbacks that run the ball. Southwestern isn't a high-octane passing offense, so to be up on them early, 2 scores before the halftime break, massive for Fredonia's chances.
Meanwhile, Salamanca, staying in C-South, has the ball inside the 10. Only 18 seconds to go in this one. It looks like the Warriors just took a timeout. I'm seeing possibly second or third and goal here from about the 1 or 2 yard line. It looks like the 1 yard line. So we have that up there. So they're inside the 10. We know Grand Island's inside the 10. They have first and goal in that one. So we're keeping an eye on that, trying to see real quick if there's anybody else we should keep an eye on. So I'll pull up game 4 in our preview screen. Why don't we go back to Grand Island, because it looks like they're lining up for first and goal in that one. So snap, handoff, run up the middle. I'm looking for a signal. Grand Island thinks they're in. But yes, it is a touchdown. So Grand Island gets on the board. They put up 6, 14-12. Ken Morey's pending the extra point. 2:34 to go in the first half of this one. So Grand Island moves up, and why don't we head back to Salamanca really quick?
They're really putting your clicking skills to work here early.
Yeah,
Francis.
I don't have my iPad today, so we're doing it by the mouse.
Salamanca, this would be just extra on top in the first half. They can go up, and they do. 28-0, awaiting the extra point. Salamanca not messing around with a winless Chautauqua Lake team within C-South. Salamanca wants a bid at that top 2 within the division to clinch a playoff spot. And with Southwestern currently losing to Fredonia, this is the scenario where all those tiebreakers come into play. If the scores stand right now, Salamanca, Fredonia, and Southwestern all would be 3-1 after today.
All right, Grand Island just made the 2-point conversion, so that game is tied at 14-14. Did they go for the 2-point yet? In this one? Let's see. No, they haven't gone for the 2-point in Salamanca yet, so we'll stick around for that one. I just want to check game 3. It looks like the Tigers, though, are just by the 10, so we'll keep a close eye on that one. Or it looks like Salamanca did do the extra try, so it's 28-0 there. Why don't we head to Lancaster, where the Tigers, I just mentioned, are driving. I know already.
Here we go. The Bennett Tigers knocking on the door, looking to double up on Lancaster. You know, Francis, I'll ask you this question. When you have a tough game, Lancaster coming off Canisius, though they won that game, everyone was juiced for it. I mean, I'm having conversations with people out in public that I didn't know watched high school football, and they're talking to me about the Canisius-Lancaster game. So that was really cool to see. But when you've got a game of that magnitude the week before, and you've got a team like Bennett rolling in after, like there's no letdown. That's got to affect you mentally.
Well, not only that, but they have Orchard Park next week.
Yeah.
So that's 3 big games in a row for the Legends.
Well, they did that to themselves. Scheduled that Canisius game when they did. Like, they don't get a week off in the middle of the season to prep. No bye weeks in high school football.
As it looks like there's a timeout in that game. Trying to see if there's any other games in the red zone. Why don't we check out game number 5.
Or Salamanca.
No, I think you want to see game number 7. It looks like the Spartans have the ball back. Remember, they have a 13-7 lead. Excuse me, in that one.
If we could bring up the 8 screen here. As Francis gets a drink of water here.
Well
deserved, well needed.
He did not
hey, hit like and retweet if you love Francis. Hit share and send waters to the studio. So 8 games going on here. Pioneer and South Park at halftime, 3-0. The Panthers on top. Here I'm talking about you got to slow down the South Park offense. A good luck, stopping those extra points. Well, boy, the Pioneer Panthers have done a fine job through 2 quarters of play. It's just 3-0. They haven't allowed Noah Willoughby, one of the best passers in Western New York, to cook.
No, they really haven't. As we'll go back to Lancaster, where the Tigers have it. It says 3rd down at the 4, handoff to Hathcock, and he stopped once again. Wow, this Lancaster defense, they've had some good showings this year. Remember, they beat Canisius, which is a very good offense. They held Will North to 0 points. Right now they're making it very difficult for Bennett to get in. It's now 4th and goal from the 1 for the Tigers.
So crucial here. And remember, if they do get a stop, they're at their own goal line. So this is...
But you know what? It's the end of the half, though.
True. Even still, 40 seconds to go. Bennett's diving in. That one looks to be good. The Tigers go up 2 scores with under 40 seconds left in the first half of play. Can Lancaster piece something together in the final 39 seconds? We'll see.
Yeah, it looks like Davis, the QB, just kind of he saw a gap between the center and guard and just kind of dove through there. Hey, any way to get in, that's how you do it.
Bennett Tigers, Steve McDuffie, surely happy with that. Capping off that drive, going forward on the 4th and 2 opportunity. That's what this Bennett team's going to do. I'm sure they've got a bunch of plays set up for that 1-yard line, 2-yard line situation as they do with their extra point, 2-point attempts from the 3. So.
Well, with a guy like Rashad Perry, I think the answer is 9 times out of 10, follow him.
Pretty easy to be a running back, but they do have 3 tremendous running backs over there at Bennett. 2-point conversion, no good, though. How crucial will that be? Lancaster, 2 stops on 2-point conversions before the halftime break. If they can get even 3 points here in the next 40 seconds, that would be so crucial. If they can get 6 or 7, I mean, obviously that's game-changing. But the Lancaster Legends need to figure some things out offensively in half number 2. Francis, that's what we've been talking about all week with Bennett. Their offense is high octane. They got playmakers, receivers, running backs, all that can make plays, and big time ones down the stretch here. But Lancaster's strength, like you said, is their defense. That's what their core of their team is this year. They're not going to score 55 points on you, but they're going to keep you. Their starting defense for the first 5 weeks of the year didn't allow more than 1 touchdown. Like, that shows you how consistently dominant that starting unit is. So to keep this Bennett team at 2 scores in the first half, you just got to figure out the offensive side. But if they can,
remember Orchard Park lost to Bennett by I think 3 or 4 touchdowns. So that's going to bode well for you next week for sure.
Even that is so matchup based, Francis. I don't want to say anything tonight would directly put them over Orchard Park, just because look at how Orchard Park needs to throw the ball and how Lancaster needs to run the ball. You've got 2 different styles of offensive going head-to-head next week. That'll be a big game, but it looks like we've got a break in most of our action here, so we're going to take a little break here.
All right, you're watching the Friday Night Final Drive on Western New York Athletics.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Right now, at where we currently stand with our 8 games.
Yeah, sure. So Bennett Lancaster, the Tigers, got stopped on a 2-point conversion most recently before that break. They're up with 40 seconds left in the first half by 2 scores, 12-zip. So Lancaster an opportunity there with 2 2-point conversion stops over Bennett. In the bottom left of your screen, you've got Salamanca dominant over their opponent, Chautauqua Lake, who is winless in C South. Salamanca looking to move to 3-1 there. Up big at halftime. Moving across the bottom, Pioneer and South Park at halftime. Looks like they're just about to come out of the half as Pioneer leads 3-0 there in a big game over South Park. Boy, if Pioneer can stun South Park in a non-league, non-class game with Pioneer from B and South Park from A, that would be a storyline for the week indeed. Moving across the bottom there, Williamsville North leading the way over Orchard Park in another non-league game, non-class game, but still Will North right there with the numbers. It's not as big of a stunning upset as Pioneer South Park would be, but still Will North down in A1, OP in AA. Orchard Park undefeated on the road so far this year. Will North looking for their second home win out of 3 games. They're currently up 13-0 the last we saw. Williamsville North leading the way there.
Yeah, I believe that game is at half. 13-7.
Sorry, just blocked a second
13-7.
There we go.
Nick, why don't you turn the board a little bit closer? Just put it on an angle. Other way.
So across then the top, we've got Lancaster Bennett. We talked about Frontier Jamestown to the left of Lancaster Bennett there with the St. Joe's logo up there. Their open house. Check it out. There at halftime, Jamestown dominant, 27-0 over Frontier. Trey Drake not playing any games here in Week 6 in another league game for Jamestown. They're currently 2-0, looking to stay undefeated and eclipse over Clarence and Will North in that A1 class for that first seed.
All right, why don't we head to Game 4? It looks like Grand Island has the ball just under 10 seconds to go. Let's see if they try to run another play with time running out in this first half.
Our lone tie on the board so far, and they'll get one final playoff. Deep shot to the end zone. Well, it's to the 20-yard line, and it falls out of bounds. That'll do it there. Tied 14 at the half between 2 winless teams so far this year. Kenmore East and Grand Island. Some sort of battle.
Yeah, battle for first win of the year. Perhaps, I had to say, unfortunately, for only wins of the year for those teams. I do have another update. Franklinville, Ellicottville up 32-0 over Gowanda. 98-yard pick 6 by Noah Schenk. So Titans moving the ball well. Of course, they're in that big Class D, which is jam-packed with 8 teams. They're trying to stay in that top 4 of that division. So we have that. If you're out there watching, if you're at a game that we're not following, tweet at us scores, at WNR Athletics, at Francis Beck, at Jack Cruiser. I know you're following along on Twitter, so keep an eye. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see. A couple other scoring updates. Last update. Oh, we're going to Game 1, actually. That
game's about to wind down.
Yeah, that one's about to go to the halftime as well. Looks like Southwestern just need it down. They're down 14-0 over Fredonia. Really impressive effort by Fredonia, and going to potentially create some chaos in Class C South.
Yeah, but this is a Fredonia team that went to the stadium last year. They lost to Medina in a battle of 2 undefeated teams up until the stadium. So Fredonia, while they lose Nick Whitfield, their starting quarterback last year, they've clearly not lost.
Where it looks like Pioneer just scored, and from one non-league game to another, Pioneer not taking the night off as they're about to go up 10-0. Yeah, 10-0 over South Park, a team which has been doing very well in A3. I don't know, maybe South Park's playing their backups, or maybe they just feel, maybe they didn't bring it tonight. Long bus ride. Well, it's a non-league game, but. That's a loss is still a loss.
Francis, even though this score is 9-0 right now, and it that extra point might have been
Oh, they might have been stopped.
missed.
Okay.
Well,
there we go.
As we're talking about it. Regardless, still a 2-score game, and it's only 10. It's a very easy amount to put in your head to say we can come back, and if there's a quarterback and a leader in Western New York that can get his team to turn things around in the second half of a critical game, it's a non-league game, I shouldn't say it's that critical, but in a game where you're showing out your talent against a smaller school, Noah Willoughby's that guy that can motivate his team enough and get his boys back lined up mentally, right back in the game, and not starting to lose the train off the rails, being down 2 scores.
One game we haven't talked a lot about is Jamestown Frontier. It looks like Frontier's their first possession of the second half. They're down 27-0 to the Red Raiders. Jamestown doing as we expected. Needing to win this game isn't quite true, but they want to win this division, so that really starts with winning this week, and then they have Clarence coming up the last week of the season. I think Jamestown has another game as well, but who they face at their final game is Clarence. I forget who they have next week. Let me pull that up for a second. But for Jamestown, it's just about keeping your offense humming, keeping the momentum going. Like, don't allow a slip up like it appears South Park might be allowing to happen. Just keeping that momentum going as they travel to Niagara Wakefield next week before wrapping up the season with Clarence, who won big last night.
Yeah, I feel like there's something to be said about who's the hungrier team entering a game.
Who's the hottest team?
Who's the hottest team? I was just going to say who's hungrier and who's flat out better. Who's hot, who's rolling, like you said. At this point in the season, to get up for a game like this for Frontier, a loss to Jamestown doesn't really hurt them too much. Their destiny's still in their own hands with the game against Clarence next week. So for Frontier, it's not like it's a situation where they're coming in saying if we win, we play a spoiler and we knock this really good team out of the playoffs. And Jamestown, like you said,
they can still say they beat a team like Jamestown.
True.
And does this jumpstart them? They finish the season off strong, try to get in the Funky Bowl, and then maybe if they bring back their guys, it kind of catapults them into next year. Remember, a Frontier team just went. This is a rematch actually of last year's game at the stadium. Yeah. Keep in mind. But Frontier was a senior-heavy team last year as they tried to move it. I wonder if Jamestown has brought in their second teams. Nick, our producer, can attest to this. Jamestown games have taken the longest by far this season. There were times where everybody else was far in the second half, and there's still 3 minutes to go in the second quarter.
That's what happens when you score every other drive, right? It'll keep the game going. All the stoppages in play. Update from North Tonawanda, Hamburg, up 22-0 at the half over the Lumberjacks of NT. Hamburg, looking at trying to claw their way back up and create something for themselves here in the final weeks of the season. They're 1-3 and 8-2. So like you said, there's one of those teams that kind of want to build for next year, end the season hot this season.
All right, we'll go back to the Octobox. I just got another update. Actually, I missed it from 10 minutes ago. Albion is up 27-14 over Cheektowaga. That's almost a must-win game for Cheektowaga. It wouldn't officially knock them out of the playoffs, but it really put them in a situation where in that final week that you have to beat Maryvale in order to get into the playoffs. And Maryvale right now is one of those teams that's humming undefeated in this one.
Yeah, I mean, that rivalry already, I can attest, is, always a good matchup. No matter how the teams play during the regular season, one could have a down year, one could be dominant. That game's always going to be, within the final play, who's got the ball last, who makes a big play at the end of the game. But when you throw in on top of that, Maryvale can kick Cheektowaga out of the playoffs in a Week 8 matchup. Boy, that's just a recipe for, storylines and intense football, but also such heartbreak looming for Cheektowaga if they started the year so hot. Only that loss to West Seneca East in week 1. Then they kind of turned it on through the middle half of the season. They come up shy against Olean, who they, on their own trajectory, needed a win to bounce back from a loss the week prior. They take down Cheektowaga at home in a close game. The Warriors need to bounce back today. They've got some good wins to their credit. Falconer is one of those teams that they beat, and they're up by 40-something over Dunkirk right now, really showing that they're a good team, are the Golden Cougars. But back to Cheektowaga. I mean, if they can win tonight, then things are a little more easy next week, and you can just focus on, or not next week, 2 weeks from now, rather, with them in Maryville. But still, high stakes for that final week's matchup.
All right, looks like we have a couple games coming back from the half. I just saw, let's take a look in at Salamanca. Start of the third quarter there. It looks like the Warriors have the ball. First drive of the game right now on their own 30 in that one. We saw Warriors up 28-0 over Chautauqua Lake, Westfield Brockton in that one. Trying to see who else. Grand Island still at the half. We talked about. Why don't we head over to Pioneer, where it looks like the Sparks have the ball back. They're down 10-0 with only 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
This should be fun to see here. Let's see how this Sparks offense goes, down by 2 scores with Noah Willoughby, quarterback. Here we go, deep shot down the right side. Looks to be a minimal gain, if anything. It looked like a much deeper shot. These huddle cameras really zoom out for you. They got to throw you off on how deep the shot is, but that one just a 5 or 6 yard catch.
Oh, an 8-yard catch.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. You got to watch for the marker and the officials. So I know it's different though, because you're not there and you're like this. You have to rely on different visual cues. 27-14, Albion Cheektowaga. That game is at the half, I'm told. As we're going to head over to Game 5, and it looks like Salamanca just scored a touchdown.
The Warriors, well, they want a piece of this 3-1 action as well after this week. If they can handle business, look at the light show in Salamanca. Holy! All right,
I hope that's planned.
The rest of yeah, right. The rest of Western New York, take notice, because that is an electric game day atmosphere. Props to Salamanca. I love that kind of stuff. More schools. If you've got the capability to do it, why aren't we doing it with those LEDs? They use them to their fullest extent. Salamanca rolling over Chautauqua Lake at this point in a near must-win game for the Warriors at home. Jesse Stallman clearly not wanting to lose this one, willing his team back, and they're up in dominant fashion.
As I have his point on Stallman in a second, but it looked like we had a turnover in Pioneer, and it looks like the Panthers have the ball back. So turnover by the Sparks, chance for the Panthers to go up 3 scores in this one, a non-league affair.
Could that have been a turnover on downs?
That might have been. So the handoff is run up the middle is stuffed pretty much by the Sparks defense. Getting back to Jesse Stallman, he underwhelmed. He only had about maybe 30 yards or so. That Southwestern defense really got to him. And so you got to think you mentioned him, willing his team to a win. Mm-hmm. You got to think he had to be pretty disappointed in his performance last week. So I'm sure he's putting a little extra out there tonight. As I want to give the Octobox back to our producer to keep an eye on what everything is going on. We still have a couple games at the half. We know Lancaster's at the half, Grand Island's at the half. We believe, looks like maybe Will North. It's like Will East is back from the half. Looks like Will North is getting there. I want to double check. Yeah, it looks like they're back from the half. So I think everybody's so just Lancaster and Grand Island, those 2 games are still in halftime. The rest are in the third quarter. I saw some action with looks like they're doing a change of possession over there. So why don't we stay with South Park and for another play where it looks like there was another turnover.
Yeah, how about South Park getting the ball back right where we left off? Every time we go to look at another game, South Park and Fredonia change sides. A good run there up the middle. Can assume that's Simmons on the carry there. Good gain on first down after the sudden change. These are the moments that on Thursday nights with Coach Fata, he'll always say, look for a deep shot. Right after that sudden change, you've got 3 or 4 plays, most coaches do, to dig into your playbook and say, all right, quick change of possession, sudden change, we got a chance. We're going to catch them sleeping defensively. We're going to take a shot down the field. We'll see if South Park does that, but their first couple plays after the turnover just runs up the middle.
Meanwhile, you just caught the end of it. That was a great shot by Sean Sansone to Dorian Faison Jr. Catch along the sideline. Believes it's going to give his team the first down. Yep, you can see it there. So Willie's down a point coming off that upset loss last week to Kenmore West. They need a touchdown. They really could use a touchdown to open the second half.
Yeah, Williamsville East, a team I'm looking forward to seeing in Week 8. We're going to have that McKinley-Williamsville East game on our network on Week 8. So Will East, with a loss today, boy, that would really hurt their chances at knocking out McKinley from that number 1 spot.
And it potentially hurts their it would eliminate that from getting the first seed and puts them in a really tough spot to even get in the playoffs. Is another great pass to Sansone, trying to see who that receiver is over there. But Sansone, another great pass, rolling out to his left and makes a big throw, as you can see. We'll head back to Pioneer really quick, where it looks like South Park is moving. It looks like they're inside the 25 of the Panthers in this one. So it looks like we'll stay here for – actually, let's check out game number 2. Do we just have a big play in game number 2? No, I don't think so. We're going to head back to Pioneer. False alarm on that one. And it looks like
this is such a crucial drive for South Park.
Yeah. No, you're right.
If they don't score here, you're talking about a team that is built on running the football in Pioneer with a freshman quarterback that they can kill clock better than anyone else out there. You know, those farm boys on the line, they can move it. And that's been a staple at Pioneer for about a decade now, where they can just move bodies up front. And in games like this, though it's low scoring, it might look more like last night's Thursday night football game in the NFL than, a high octane, fun watching experience for high school football. Let's go to Williamsville East here. Every time Sansone drops back to pass, you think he's going deep. He's got such an arm on him, and he looks everywhere first, and then fools you for a quick dump down for a couple. But South Park, this is such a crucial drive.
Yeah, it looks like South Park got a bit of a gain here on second. Yeah, it looks like they got about a 10-yard or so gain. It made it 3rd and 9 for them. So, yeah, you mentioned a very important drive. Well, I think we're going to try to stay for the next South Park snap before we go back. You mentioned important drives. So you have Willoughby now in the shotgun. He's the top passing in yardage in Western New York. And I think
he can do it with his legs too, Francis.
Yeah. He took off with his legs. Meanwhile, let's head back to Williamsville East. A 3rd down play for the Flames. Come up short, so it's going to make it 4th and about 2 over there in that one. So an important drive for Will East as well. I mean, with momentum and everything, you miss this one, you give West Seneca West a chance to get back there. I think the South Park is going to go off first. We're going to go there first. Willoughby again in the shotgun.
3rd and 9 looks
3rd
like.
and 9.
4th and 9, I beg your pardon. This is 4th down for the Sparks. They're not getting it. Back over to Williamsville East. 4th and 2. Critical, down by 1. The Flames with Sansone in shotgun. Looks near side. Throws. Incomplete. The Indians force a turnover on downs and will get the ball at midfield.
Yeah, so two big 4th down stops. Pioneer, West Seneca West. You could say maybe the underdogs coming into this game in both of them. But leading their games, they come up with big stops, and they have a chance to really add on to their leads, take control of their respective games.
A quick scoring recap on the games that we've got streaming for you Fredonia up 13-0 over Southwestern at the half. Jamestown up 27-0 over Frontier in the third quarter. Bennett over Lancaster 12-0 in the third quarter. Kenmore East and Grand Island, two winless teams, tied at 14 in the third quarter. Salamanca beating Chautauqua Lake 34-0 in quarter number 3. Pioneer up 10-0 over South Park in a big non-league game in the third quarter there. And on your screen now,
Orchard Park just scored. I'm told they're now up 14-13. I think they're about to hit this extra point. I got a text update from our Tom Prince, who is at the game. So Orchard Park retakes the lead in this one.
A back and forth non-league game. Two big non-league games we've got streaming for you today in Orchard Park and Will North, and that South Park Pioneer game, the only non-divisional battles this week. And Francis, what are your thoughts on those, scheduling those tough non-league matchups later on in the season?
Actually, wait a minute. We have a touchdown
he's
right now.
in for the touchdown.
It's Jamestown just scored another touchdown.
They knew Bain kind of deserved a touchdown on that drive, rushing really hard all night.
Trey Drake in the offense still humming. He hits his man over there. We mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned it, but last week Trey Drake broke the school record for passing yards, I believe. Passing yards in that one. So Trey Drake just added on to his own record. We'll see who comes along in the future and tries to break it. But with a couple games, more than a couple games left for Drake.
2-point conversion. Bain now picking up his
he's going to be able to add on to that record.
Of the season.
2-point conversion.
That shotgun formation, quick pass to Melendez, and that goes well over his head, too high.
So 33-0 Jamestown, 2:52 to go in that game. We'll head back to the Octo Box.
Yeah, Jamestown's not messing around. Let's be clear. They're on a mission. They want to go further than the stadium. They're going to tell you that they're going to take it 1 week at a time, but that team has aspirations much higher than just Western New York. You would assume with the talent that they have up and down the lineup on a season that started with that game against Lancaster, that went so well for Jamestown. So, definitely a team to look out for in the final couple weeks.
It looks like Salamanca just scored, so they're up 42-0 in that one. Just running through our games real quick as let's go to Williamsville North, where the Spartans just make it play. So the Spartans, after giving up that touchdown, their offense is already across midfield in that one. So Spartans not letting anything go to them easy.
No, I mean that's a big time game. This is for Will North, a non-league game, but still, Will North and Orchard Park. They're two of the bigger schools in Western New York. They've got some history across all sports. I remember last year the hockey championship in the large school bracket was Orchard Park.
I'm sure there's guys who definitely played in that game on the field right now at Williamsville North. So we'll stay here for this play, as we do notice that the Tigers are driving as they're back in the second half of play.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe Dylan Evans was on that hockey team. I could be wrong, but if my memory serves me right, which usually it does.
Well, meanwhile, the Orchard Park defense just came with a major stop. Looks like the Spartans tried an end-around play, but sniffed out by that Orchard Park defense. Major loss. As why don't we head over to game number 8, West Seneca West with the ball. And it looks like a big run there on 2nd and long. They're going to make it 3rd and a little bit more manageable for the Indians after that long play.
Keeping it within Williamsville. I like the way you think, Francis. We go from Will North to Will East. West Seneca West looking for another big win here this week with a big upset last week. You look to see, are the Indians something for real here to keep an eye out on in the last couple weeks, Francis?
You know what? That's the other thing. That could really change everything. As we go back to Lancaster, I'll look that up. Oh, what a catch. That was Jameer Thomas. Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable. Well, that's the Bennett Tigers, though. At this point, we've become so accustomed to them making those big-time plays.
Jameer Thomas, I believe he's number 2 on their team. You have the roster up?
Yes, sir, Jameer.
Jameer Thomas, have that memorized. I don't know how. So he makes a big catch. So it'll be 1st and goal for the Tigers. We'll stay here for this one. Stay this one to see if they can punch in and go up 3 scores.
That's Kareem Hathcock on that carry. Here's Cheektowaga boy I know. bounced around Western New York, went to Canisius, got hurt last year. Now he finds himself at Bennett as their leading rusher, and boy, oh boy, did Kareem make a good decision coming out of Canisius, though who knows what that team could have been with him on that team for the Crusaders. But still, you move to a Bennett team that has, talk about aspirations beyond Highmark Stadium. They're eyeing down the Syracuse blue and orange at the JMA Wireless Dome for the state championships. They're looking for a ring this season, and you can't blame them with the amount of talent they've got up and down their roster. Not to mention one guy that's committed to play at the JMA Wireless Dome long term in Richard Perry. Is the 2-point. Oh no, this is still looking for the touchdown here. But Syracuse heavily scouting their cornerback as well. As Damari Clemens has been invited to games, he's gone out, done the whole recruiting process. He's only a sophomore, I believe, so plenty of time before Clemens gets more looks, I'm sure, from other programs as more tape comes out.
We talked to, a few weeks ago we heard Jaden Clark from Canisius, the receiver, sophomore, already getting a couple looks from Syracuse as well as UB. So Syracuse, I like to see them. They're getting back into Western New York, trying to get the talent out of here. It's good to keep the talent, I think, in state. And I know you're a Syracuse guy, so I know you're happy. I know Stu's very happy. He went to Syracuse.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good as an Orange fan to see, the guys from Western New York. But honestly, it just shows it's a testament to the talent in Western New York. I don't think it's as much the larger schools, ACC. They're not going into Western New York because there's no talent here, but there hasn't been that D1 talent in, there have been spurts of a handful of guys here and there, but it seems over the last 5-6 years, the talent level and the product you see on the field on Fridays and Saturdays, even Thursdays now in Western New York, it's good enough for that next level, and not just mid-major at Buffalo, though obviously Buffalo's had some tremendous teams. They're led by a current Western New York quarterback in Cole Snyder, so there's good talent. We
just had a story about him on our Western New York Athletics football report.
Yeah, check that out. It's great. Well done, and Francis throws a lot of time into that. But it's great to see Syracuse, not only as a fan, but also just as a fan of Western New York and people from here succeeding outside of here to get out and to go to a Power 5 school, a team that's currently ranked and undefeated. That's a good sign for the talent level overall and the youth football organizations throughout Western New York.
All right, we are keeping an eye on the other games right now. None of them really in the red zone at this point, so we are keeping an eye on them, so that's why we're keeping it here with Lancaster and, and Bennett.
We just won't stop coughing today at this point. 12-0 Bennett. Boy, if Lancaster can get a stop here, Francis, this would be massive. But again, I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you stop them here on out. You got to score. You got to take advantage offensively. Lancaster hasn't been able to do that.
I'm seeing still 2nd and 5 on – or no, it looks like there's a third down on the scoreboard there. There would seem to be a long pause there between 2nd and 3rd down. I don't know why, and there's another whistle, looks like. See, maybe there was a flag on that play.
So 8.5 to go in that third quarter. 12-0 lead for the Bennett Tigers so far. If they can knock on the door here, 3rd and goal from the 3. Handoff inside, Lancaster. Boy, that defense able to stop it again.
Trying to make out who the ball carrier is. Looks like it's number 13.
Darrell Hamilton.
Darrell Hamilton. Big boy there, stopped. So it's good in that. And if you look at that Lancaster defense right now, there's not a lot of big guys either. Even their line is fairly on the smaller side. None of them is close to the size of Rashad Perry, but they're holding him in check.
Yeah, and it's those linebackers like Jacob Zimmerman you saw on that last play that have been filling those holes left by that Bennett offensive line. This time, however, they can't stop it 4 in a row. Touchdown Lancaster Bennett, I beg your pardon, as they walk in on 4th and 2. And now to Williamsville East.
Yeah, it looks like Williamsville East. Oh, wait a minute. There was an interception by the Indians. So earlier the Indians punted, Willie's got the ball, and they just gave it back on a long interception there. So Indians keeping hold of their lead right now, thin margin of lead over Williams-Lease, trying to hand the Flames their second loss of the season. We're going to head back, though, to Lancaster to watch this 2-point conversion for the Tigers.
That's a heartbreaking touchdown to give up for Lancaster. And the 2-point conversion is good. So that'll make it a 20-0 lead for Bennett. But at this point for Lancaster, you needed to score on that previous drive. I hate to say, when you had them 12-0 and you had a chance out of the half to go up and make it a one-score game, Lancaster needed a big offensive drive. But with Bennett, they know that Lancaster's just going to hand the ball off. Micah Harry's the guy for Lancaster. And if he's not rolling, it's tough for the Legends to get something going with an inexperienced quarterback, though Max Stolt is a senior. It's his first year starting. He's not the best arm in Western New York by any means. So that team lives and dies by the running game. And we know that their strength is their defense. Well, you can hold Bennett to less than 4 scores. You still have to score more than they're putting up. And being down 20-0 here in the second half, you're going to need some big plays and turnovers if you're Lancaster to come back.
All right, looks like we're about to start the fourth quarter in Salamanca. Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton inside the 20. They're in the red zone. 42-0 game right now. Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton looking at a score. And it looks like we have a long run for the Panthers. And
does Pioneer add another 6 points here at home? Or perhaps was that the visitors in South Park? We'll see where the officials put them and who's lining up at offense here, though it looks like that was a Pioneer big gain into the offensive territory. Man, oh, man. The Pioneer Panthers pull out victory.
Wait. South Park has the ball.
There you see. Okay. Well, this is, talk about crucial drives here for South Park. You cannot walk away without points. They don't have a kicker, so they'll need to go for 2 here. As it looks like that was rather the punt, so South Park will take over here in their own territory. Let's go back. Fredonia Southwestern down in the southern tier. Southwestern can clinch if they come back and win this one, but Fredonia making a statement in the southern tier.
Fry in the pistol formation, and he takes a snap. It's another give to Davis, and squirming past the 10 to the 9-yard line. And again, the guy in the tackle for Southwestern, he's been busy on the defensive side, is Mitch Pike.
all right, and we're going back to Game 6 where it looks like the Panthers just scored.
Pioneer defensively just got another touchdown. We didn't see what happened, though. It was definitely 16.
I think it was pick 6.
Pick 6 for Pioneer, so a 16-0 lead. Wow, the defense on both sides, just unbelievable here in games that, upsets. We'll call them what they are. South Park had been rolling this year in Class A3. They're looking to remain up for that number 1 spot bid, but this won't affect their chances at that number 1 spot in A3 in a non-league game, but definitely a wake-up call. This could be a positive or negative. You could flip it on both sides for Fredonia, or for South Park, as Fredonia marches closer to the goal line as well, and another game close.
And I'm seeing that Ken Maurice just scored 21-0 in that one extra point. We did miss the touchdown. We apologize for that, but Bulldogs back up in that one with 3:51 to go in the third quarter. As looks like Jamestown just scored, so 40-0 that one, pending an extra point. Well, why don't we go to Norman Collin for this Fredonia Southwestern game?
Yeah, this is a goal line formation. Looks like this could be a sneak because Fry is deep under center. Or if not, this could be a fullback dive. And it's going to be a give on the counter, and in for the touchdown. On the run is number 20.
Well, we can call Norm Rodriguez Tony Romo with that call. He called the fullback dive. There it was. Fredonia up 3 scores. As it looked like Samuel Azrot gets in for the touchdown there, making it 20-0, awaiting the extra point. Southwestern, they're going to need a big answer next week. Fredonia's, if they can hang on, they'll be tied for first place with a 3-1 record.
Yeah, Jamestown up 40-0. It looks like they made the extra point, so 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They're taking care of business against Frontier as that kick is up and good. So Fredonia up 21-0.
Heading into the playoffs, something I think gets overlooked is a team's record at home and on the road. You know, if a team's playing well and they're able to figure things out and run their style of football on the road that season, you like their chances. Even if they're, you know, a 1 or a 2 seed in their division, you're still 1 through 3 in the class. If you're that second seed, which Fredonia in all likelihood would be, depending on how the points shake out, but if they've got to go on the road at some point before the stadium, Fredonia's 2-0 on the road entering today, and if they beat Southwestern, it looks like they are in dominant fashion right now. They'll be 3-0 away from home. For Fredonia, who's got a hefty home field advantage at the Orange Bowl, you know, that's only boding well for the Hillbillies down south.
All right, Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton is inside the 10. It's now fourth quarter over in Salamanca. It looked like there might have been a timeout on that one. It looked like they're about to line up. They're trying to pick up. I can't really see the down. Make out what down it is, and I think they have the yard marker on the other side, which, why are you doing that to us?
Well, it looks like this game's all but over.
I think here's the yard marker here. We can't see it from here. But, Chautauqua Lake trying to get a score in this one.
Yeah, 42-0 currently. Chautauqua Lake looking to build off something here in the fourth quarter. But at this point, Salamanca's looking to move to 3-1 as well and see South to be even with Fredonia and Southwestern after today. A blessing for Salamanca to scoreboard watch that Fredonia game and see that they got a little help from the Hillbillies, did the Warriors. So that would be, it's going to be something coming down in the final 2 weeks and see South.
All right, why don't we head over to Game 6. South Park. I'm trying to see who has the ball here. Looks like South Park has the ball inside their own zone.
Down 17-0 South Park. We've said their last drive had to be a score. This one's even more so. Now down 3 scores overall. They got to get in the end zone first, and then they can't miss a 2-point conversion at this point with so little time remaining against a running team in Pioneer. Only 6 minutes to go. Willoughby's got to drop back and sling this thing.
And you know what? And he just had to take off. You just saw him take off for the first down. Nice run, but if you're Coach Delaney, that's probably not what you wanted at this juncture of the game.
At this point, this is a good non-league game. Tim Delaney knows what he's doing at head coach there for South Park. He's no stooge when it comes to non-conference schedules. He knows who to bring up when in the season to prep his team the most. They had some, I don't want to say cupcake games within their own division, but some easier games where backups got a lot of playing time. I'm talking about a Ken Maurice game specifically that we had on our network that right in the middle of the season, it wasn't a tough matchup for South Park or anything like that across the board. So they bounce back from that, and now a few weeks later, scheduling a tough school that is going to be hungry to beat you when you schedule that non-league game against a team, a class below you, that's just going to add more fuel to the fire to that smaller school. We can go in and we can beat these big guys. They're coming to our place. Let's take them down and show the rest of Western New York that we're the class of Class B1.
All right, meanwhile, we're going to head out to Williamsville North as it looks like the Spartans are just outside the 25 late in the third quarter. This one, we told you earlier, Orchard Park took the lead, 1 point, 14-13. But Spartans back moving the ball again. We'll see if they take this one down to the end of the third quarter. Looks like they are with under 20 seconds to go. We'll go back to Game 6.
That? The Pioneer Panthers intercept Noah Willoughby.
That might be the nail in the coffin.
And not only for the South Park Sparks, it doesn't really hurt them as much in a non-league game. They're still 4-1 in their conference, or 4-0 rather in their conference, still able to go undefeated in A3. But this really hurts Noah Willoughby the most in a vow for the Connolly Cup at the end of the season. And I was just talking to Tom Prince about this later today, another one of our analysts. He was saying how you can see a clear top 15 right now of who's potentially in the running. There's some that are more solidified than others at this point. But at this point, Noah Willoughby was one of those that we thought, he's in that top 15. He's the number one passer in Western New York. The senior's been tremendous, showing the growth from last year to this year and the year prior to now. It's unbelievable. But a non-league loss like this to Pioneer really hurts his chances statistically, as Southwestern seems to be driving for their first score.
All right, 4th and 2. This is a pretty important one. Here's Norman Collin.
Walsh looking to throw. He's going to go downfield. He's got a man, but it's overthrown. Incomplete. That was again intended for Bogdanowicz. And
if he caught that, that's probably a touchdown. Either one of those guys, it looked like he had two guys there. And either one of them got it. They're probably going down for 6, but that one falls incomplete. And Fredonia, 21-0. 6 minutes to go in the third.
That pressure,
they have a chance to put this game away.
Be getting to Walsh right
now.
Still
plenty of time left in that game.
He doesn't seem too comfortable in the pocket with the way that Fredonia
for Southwestern,
really brought the house that
you
time.
talk about at this point in the night, once the clock hits 8:30, once you're halfway through the games around Western New York, it's crunch time, especially in those games that are numerous possession differences. Southwestern down by 3 scores. Felt like that was one of those drives you had to capitalize on. Fredonia now, who feels all but comfortable running the football, they can control their own destiny here.
And it looks like Pioneer just scored another touchdown, so they lead 23-0. Pending.
Let's go back to Fredonia as just like that. I talk about their running ability, and then a big play from Fry over the middle for a massive first down and a flip of the field.
Yeah, so big play. Yeah, big play there from Fredonia, and that's momentum coming into play right there.
Yeah.
You make the big stop, and then you mentioned you talk about what Fadis says after turnover, you try to go with a big shot downfield. That's kind of what that was. Big play over the middle, and it gets them right on the doorstep of the red zone.
And a flag on the play.
As Pioneer, it looks like, missed the extra point, so they're up 23-0 in the fourth quarter. I want to bring back up our Octo screen for our producer Nick, who's doing a great job here tonight. Also, we have Brock in here joining us tonight, helping us out. So we're double covered on our producer end.
And shout out to Fat Guy's Pizza,
Fat Man's.
Sorry, Fat Man's Pizza, the official pizza supplier of WNY Athletics for the Friday night final drive. A little less sauce next time. Thank you.
All right, let's check out to see what else is going on in this one. Looks like they're some kind of break in Grand Island with Kenmore East up 21-14 in the third quarter.
See, this could be one of those huddle camera problems where that thing got distracted.
Well, although the clock isn't moving either, so I don't know.
We could have a bad situation. Let's not speculate, but
yeah.
You hate to see any
we do have a reporter
like
there, so we'll check in to see what is going on in that one. Although it looks like Salamanca is right on the doorstep, so why don't we go into them about 7 minutes to go in that one.
Yeah, most of our games so far tonight, there's a good mix of close games and blowouts so far. Salamanca, up big in the fourth quarter over Chautauqua Lake. Jamestown blowing out Frontier. Fredonia up 3 scores on Southwestern. But then your closer matchups, you've got Will North down 1 to Orchard Park in a non-league game. West Seneca West up by 1 currently over Williamsville East, who we've got our eyes on in case something happens there. Obviously waiting for Grand Island and Kenmore East. Looks like they're about to come back up in Grand Island. That game, a 1-score contest, 21-14. The Bulldogs of Kenmore East
couple other scorers. Falconer Castiga Valley up 49-6 at halftime over Dunkirk, and Maryville is up 28-7 over East Aurora. Holland, Olean up 27-0. Not sure who they're facing as let's see, game 5. It looks like, as we mentioned, Salamanca on the doorstep.
Boy, Maryville's just an absolute wagon this year. Eh? I mean, they are just rolling over all their competition so far. Big matchup in the next couple weeks for them, but it looks like all but wrapped up for that division with Maryville running away.
And it looks like the Orchard Park Quakers just scored. They're now up 20-13 in this one, pending this. It looks like it's going to be an extra point attempt.
That's big for Orchard Park, trailing in this one. They're able to bounce back, stave off that Williamsville North offense enough where they can go up by one score at least here, and if they go for 2 here, they'd put them up 2 points, or put them up 2 possessions.
Looks like Orchard Park just went for the extra point, so they're up 20, and it looks like Salamanca just scored. No surprise there, the way they've been going tonight. They now lead, I think it was 48-0 pending this extra point or 2-point conversion. So Salamanca taking care of business in that one. Well, I think we're going to stay here for the extra point in this one. I'll take a look at some of the other games going on. It looks like, it looks like Grand Island is right on the doorstep, so we'll go to them after this extra point.
Yeah, Salamanca, they're fine.
And I'm sure they're going to be very happy when they find out what's going on at Southwestern.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they'll move to 3-1. Fredonia, if they hang on, they're all tied up at 3-1. You know, that's probably the best thing that a coach can see after the game. They're not going to check their phone or get any scoring updates on the sideline. They'll all tell you that. Whether it's true or not, I think, is a case-by-case basis. But once you win this game, you know, Salamanca in dominant fashion, perhaps later in the second half, hey, by the way, Fredonia's up big time right now, just a little extra fist bump between the coaches. But after a game, especially in dominant fashion like this, you get on the bus, all right, let's see what's going on. Let's go. We're all tied at 3-1, and then you can win yourself into a number 1 seed for Salamanca.
I don't know. Fredonia's the way if Fredonia keeps that scoring up, they're probably in the best spot there. But in case you just missed it, looks like Grand Island is now up 22-21. You just saw the 2-point conversion play, so it looks like 57 seconds left to go in the third. Grand Island 1-point lead over Kenmore East. As we'll head to game number 3, it looks like Lancaster is on the doorstep. Lancaster, looking for their first score of the game late in the third quarter. Let's see if they can punch it in.
Francis, let me call this one for you. Micah Harry run up the middle. There's the handoff. No, a keeper. They fooled the Bennett defense. Look at that. They fooled me. We're all looking at the running back, Harry. Max Stolt keeps it himself. Lancaster on the board with a nice read option play. Stolt, the senior, able to run it in. Still close, but at this point, Maryville, Lancaster has to get another stop. You need stops and scores, and when do you start thinking about onside kicking to get field position as well?
I think, you still got a whole quarter to go, so let's wait a couple minutes on that one, Jack. Hold your horses. Are you a big onside kick fan? Are you still a fan of the Super Bowl 40 Sean Payton onside
Well, I think
kick?
at this point you're down 2 scores as they kick the extra point, 20-7. At this point you're down 13. It depends on how you feel your defense has been able to do stopping the run. But if this last drive, Bennett killed off 6 minutes. So even though Bennett's not capitalizing at the end of these drives, they're still killing that time away from Lancaster.
Meanwhile, it looks like South Park just scored. They're going for 2-point conversion, down 23-6.
This game, 4 minutes left. This is pretty much over. We should see an onside kick after this score for South Park at this point, 23-6. 2-point conversion, no good.
All right, why don't we head over to game number 2. Looks like Jamestown once again on the doorstep. Under 2 minutes to go in this one. 40-0. Probably their second teamers in. I can see a 14 there at quarterback. I know that's not Trey Drake.
No, that's Jack Carlson.
So second teamers in for Jamestown right now.
Well, how about a handoff in that Jamestown game, almost going for 6?
All right, we're going to head to game 8, where it looks like West Seneca East is on the doorstep.
West Seneca West. Flip the side of West Seneca. Either way, the Indians are up by 1. They're looking to add on to it. What a crucial game this is for Will East. I mean, you see these teams at the start of the year, with the high school season only being 8 weeks long, you think sometimes a team that starts hot is going to play that hot throughout the whole season. Williamsville East was one of those teams that got off to a really hot start. They rolled over in a back-and-forth fashion. They were able to get the win over Williamsville South in Joe Licata's first game coaching. That was kind of an introduction to Dorian Fossen Jr. as he had an explosion. I think he had 2 or 3 scores in that game. We saw Sansone's arm on full display in a game where we were tuning in, and most of Western New York was tuning in to see Joe Licata and see the Will South offense. It was the Flames of Williamsville East that stole the show altogether. We'll see if they can pick it back up, though, after a loss last week. They got to stop the losing skid heading into the postseason. 7-6 they're down here, but boy, if they could get a stop, perhaps this is the moment that saves the Flames season.
Yeah, you're right. And I just want to mention, I think you saw it on air, all of you. Jamestown is now up. They had another score, 46-0, pending an extra point under a minute to go in this one. But we'll stay here. 4th and goal right now for West Seneca West. Jack, I'm going to let you and your pipes take it away.
Huge down here. 4th and goal. Under center, you've got Caden Stupak. Or in the shotgun, rather. Stupak throws near side. It's right behind our face. What happened? The Indians are celebrating. Touchdown. Oh, no. The official waved his arm.
Oh, there's a flag.
Stop the clock.
I think there's a flag right there.
Wow.
I'm trying to see who caught it. Looks like it was the guy in the pink. Although there's a couple guys in the pink. That's what happens in October.
We didn't see the official ruling on the field, though, because one official waved up, the only one we saw. Here we go. So this is a call against West Seneca.
That's an eligible man downfield. Wow.
Still fourth down. They'll get another try.
They'll get another try, but that wipes away the touchdown on that one. So missed opportunity for West Seneca West, but they have a second chance. 4th and goal in that one.
Really, all eyes right now are on this Will East West Seneca West game. I mean, the Flames, like we mentioned, they've got to find a way to stop the bleeding. Not so much that they're falling apart at the seams. Perhaps we're overstating it a bit. But overall, these Williamsville East Flames, I don't know if anyone had high expectations for them entering the season, but after week 1 and 2 and 3, the expectations grew.
The expectations were at least finish top 2 in your in A2.
Pass. Here's the 4th down play. No, he's short. A big stop for the Flames of Williamsville East. How about number 7 on the play? Michael Scioli, another one of those hockey players. Dual sport athlete. Scioli comes up.
That's a hockey name.
Oh, yeah, you betcha. Listen, at the Northtown Center, when we get Mike Scioli coming down the ice with Nathan Milk, it's a hell of a lineup for the Flames. But That's a hockey hit right there. I mean, he just laid out an open ice. Scioli lowers the boom and stops a 4th and goal try for the West Seneca West Indians. Keep your eyes down in the bottom right of your screen here on the Octobox. Octobox, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, Octobox.
Love it. Bottom right is that Williamsville East game, so keep an eye on Sansone moving the chains here with under 5 to go in the 4th. Only down 1.
All right, real quick from Twitter, 47-0 Franklinville, Elginville over Gowanda end of the 3rd quarter, and Medina 65-0 over Springville. Cole Keller 9 for 9 on PATs.
Wow.
Wait, that 9 touch. Wait, no, I don't think they added right.
I mean, 65-0. If they were kicking field goals on all of them, that
would
be...
No, PATs.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
9.
I
don't think. And 35-0 Maryvale over East Aurora Holland.
Can't be 9
as well. I don't think 9 for 9 is quite right.
But still, 65 points. We're talking, 8 to 10 touchdowns on the day. I mean, that's impressive.
All right, let's see. Let's see what else is going on here. It looks like we had a punt in the Lancaster-Bennett game. Grand Island, it appears. Actually, why don't we check in? Grand Island has the ball. They're up 1 point, 10 minutes to go on their own side of the field. Why don't we check in with game number 7? Last check, it was 22-13 Orchard Park. Looks like we have a change in possession. I think Orchard Park now has the ball back. About 7 minutes to go from their own 15. So nice long drive for the Quakers. can put this game away for them. Another non-league battle we're following tonight.
If you're just joining us, let's give you a recap of all our scores of our 8 games you see on your screen now, from left to right, top to bottom. Starting with the top row, Southwestern, Fredonia. In the third quarter, it's the Hillbillies of Fredonia on top, 21-0 there. In the second game on the top line, 48-0 Jamestown leads. To the right of that, the Bennett Tigers are on top, 20-7 over Lancaster in the fourth quarter. Lancaster looking to piece something together offensively here. They need a score. In game 4 on the top right, it's that battle of winless teams. Kenmore East currently trailing by 1 to Grand Island, 22-21. Below that, from right to left on the bottom line, is that West Seneca West lead over Williamsville East, 7-6. To the left of that, Orchard Park up by 7 over Will North in the fourth quarter. All games now in the fourth quarter outside of Southwestern and Fredonia, which is approaching that final quarter mark anyway. Pioneer South Park, the second in on the left side on the bottom row, 23-6 in a stunning upset. The Pioneer Panthers, it's not all that stunning. I think we said that could be a really good game depending on how Pioneer's run game went today. They're up 23-6 so far, and our other game, Salamanca, up over Chautauqua Lake 48-6 as West Seneca West is able to shut down the Will East offense and march down the field and add an extra point after a score. They're up 2 possessions now. No, still 1 possession, but Will East would need the 2-point conversion to tie.
Yeah, so West Seneca West, 3 minutes to go have that on. Another scoring update, Albion, 35-22 over Cheektowaga, end of the 3, and then Hamburg's up 28-8 over North Tonawanda. So you take a look. When we head back to our Octo box, see what other games are close to the end zone. I have a feeling this Salamanca game is over, so I believe that one went final. So I believe it's Salamanca 48-6. They're winners. That's our second final of the night that we can track. We just mentioned Falconer 48-9 winners over Dunkirk. So game 4 has ended. Why don't we keep on that bottom row? South Park with the ball. 2 minutes to go in this one, down 23-6.
If we could go back up to game 4 as well and have this Kenmore East Grand Island game on the docket ready to pull up, because we've got a 22-21 game with Kenmore East trailing. Grand Island has the ball. All timeouts remain for the visitors. I beg your pardon. No, 2 timeouts remain for the visitors in Kenmore East. So, Sparky Adams passing away this past week. This is the first time that the Bulldogs get to play after the long time. Bulldogs head coach, passes away. It can be an emotional motivator for plenty teams and plenty organizations, and a team that's looking for their first win since 2019. You think perhaps this could be the spark to get a first-year head coach in Matt O'Malley and his team the victory here today, though they got to get a stop. 3rd down currently. All
right, now we have another final. Jamestown is official 48-0 winners over Frontier. So 2 games done tonight for us on the Friday night final drive. 6 more still to go. A bunch of them very close, including this one, as you see. Big 3rd down coming up for the Vikings. Can they keep this drive alive with a 1-point lead?
3rd and short. Another hockey player, Peyton Abbott, the quarterback for Grand Island. He'll do it himself. 1st down, Vikings. That's a massive play. Still 2 timeouts remain for Kenmore East, though now entering the 40-yard line. Grand Island's looking to put this one away.
All right, and it looks like it's Pioneer now has the ball. They're looking to close this one out. 23-6 lead with 1:23 to go, and it looks like they're going to line up in victory formation.
It'll be a tough bus ride home for South Park after this loss, but you can shake it off. What can you learn from it? And it honestly prepares you for a postseason run in Class A. They're going to have to figure out how to stop the running game later on anyway.
Well, their postseason actually starts next week because they have Will South next week, and then they have Maritime, 2 big league games, 2 teams right at the top of that A3 division. South Park really needs to sweep in order to get the top of that division. So if they want to end up at the top of that division, it starts next week. So maybe this is the punch in the mouth they need to propel them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, their only other loss, a non-league one as well earlier in the year. So, 2 losses on the season. Tim Delaney's not, he's no schmuck when it comes to scheduling, like we said earlier, these non-conference games. He's not doing it to get cupcake wins. You talk to coaches at every level of the sport, whether it's, collegiate, D1, D2, D3, or high school. When you talk about scheduling your non-conference opponents, it's about building your team. Some coaches will say, we'll take the easy wins, we'll get the wins so we look like we're an undefeated team and we give us some confidence boosts. And it really depends on the players you've got. Is Grand Island's going to bust one in? How about that for the Vikings?
Mitch Simpliski, I believe that's his second touchdown of the day, and Grand Island's going to take 28-21 lead pending the extra point in that one. Do you have another scoring update? Olean leads 34-0 in their game.
So Grand Island will put this one away with an extra point if it's good here. Good for that program, getting their first win on the season. They were 0-3 at home. This is their final home game of the season, senior night presumably. So, you've got seniors like Peyton Abbott under center that don't want to go down without a win for their senior season.
All right, we're going to head over to Williamsville North. Quakers trying to close this one out, but you can see that stopped by the Will North defense. Under 5 minutes to go, Quakers up 20-13 in this non-league battle.
Talk about non-league game preparing you for the postseason.
This is the time to do it. Week 6, you have 2 more games to go, especially if you're a team that, you're not like, for example, Lancaster, who always faces Depew in the last season, or Kenmore East, who always faces a Kenmore West. This is a good time to get it in before your last 2 league games, which I think we're going to see. We mentioned in A3, and we're going to see it in A1, where those last 2 weeks, even last week, we're going to have games that decide who wins divisions.
That's a pro of having a rival in your same size as Bengo Sella gets taken down. And did the ball come out? Will East says they got it. If they do, it's a game changer at this point. You can bet Luke Prince is at the bottom of that pile somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
But as we were saying, it helps when you've got your rival in your division, in your conference, because then you get that extra non-league game you can schedule week 6, week 5. You can pick out different weeks and say, okay, who should we play after we've got, say 2 tough opponents the first 2 weeks of the year. We'll throw a non-league game week 3. That's a bit of an easier one. Give our guys a confidence boost.
Or you're Jamestown. You get because the section makes the league schedule. Your open dates are at the beginning. So who do you schedule? Lancaster and Orchard Park. You lost both of those games, but you were competitive in both of them for sure. 1-2 score games, and it really prepared you as now you're in the thick of your league schedule.
But even for a Lancaster then, where their non-conference game, now granted there's only the 4 teams or 5 teams in, AA, but there's, teams like Lancaster that have to play a Depew, or, Depew on the other side that have to play a Lancaster, not have to, but that's their rivalry game. They're going to play it in week 8 every year. When you've got to play a non-conference game, and that's one of your non-conference games every year, it really limits your options on who you should play, who you should play when, determining where your 2 non-conference games lie after you get the conference schedule.
All right, why don't we head over, the big play from Orchard Park, but why don't we head over to Williamsville East with the ball under 2 minutes to go. Sansone long, that just went through the wide receiver's hands. That was number 6 for the Flames, Deuce Jameson. Wow, that went through his hands. All right, we'll go back, though, to Game 7, where it looks like Williamsville North just came with an interception. So 2 down-to-the-wire games in Williamsville.
Yeah, I mean, where else would you rather be than Williamsville? All we need is the Billies playing right now. Where you at, Coach?
Well, actually, the Billies are at Star Point tonight.
Okay.
Yes, Billies are at Star Point tonight.
We'll see if we can get a scoring update from there. How about Sansone letting it fly over? Tipped! Just incomplete. Boy, oh boy, the Williamsville East receiver tipped it, and it nearly fell into the hands, I believe it was number 4, Omarion Thomas, who thought he should have had that one back for the Indians. That would have put the game away and on ice. But still, we've got a 3rd and 10 here for the Flames as Will North will look to drive down the field. a last-ditch effort for Southwestern as they've got a 3rd down and long in the offensive territory. We'll see if anything comes of that.
Meanwhile, it looks like wait, who has the ball? Will North has the ball, but it's deep in their own end. We'll head back to Williams-Lee. Sandstone, another pass, and he started to turn away from that one. Fell incomplete. Is that going to bring up 4th down?
That'll do it, yes. So 4th down and 10. Here's a big gut check moment, right? These are what these games down the stretch do to you. You've got these specific moments that you can overreact to one game during one point of the season and say whether or not you're going to win a sectional title. But it's moments like this for the Williamsville East Flames where they can look at themselves in the mirror and say, are we contenders or are we pretenders? Let's prove that we're contenders, and you got to come up with a big-time play here. You need these in the playoffs. You need these in the stadium. If you want to be one of those teams, prove you can do it here. Sansone has the arm talent. He goes for it all in double coverage, and it's incomplete. And that'll just about do it for the Flames, who appear to have no timeouts left. West Seneca West will walk into Williamsville East and walk away with a big victory.
Second team in a row to do that, as it looks like Orchard. Yeah, or it looks like Orchard Park just scored. So that should ice the game pending this extra point.
It's been a fumble recovery or pick six because that's all that.
No, I think Orchard Park did have the ball there. I think there might have been a turnover a few plays before, but I know they ran in. Okay, North threw a pick and turned it over. So Orchard Park up.
We have 26 now, right?
27-0. In that one.
Well, they're up 27-13.
Yeah, 27-13 in that one.
So Will East, you see on your screen here, now defensively, I mean, they need a turnover, and they need it quick. Will East, Darian Fossen Jr. wants it. Oh, boy, can they rip it out? No.
All right, we're going to head back to Lancaster. We saw Lancaster was on the edge of the red zone, but it looks like they gave up the ball, and Bennett has it inside their own 5. 6 minutes to go, 2 scores up. We'll see if they –
Safety would be big here.
Yeah. I wouldn't count on that, but
throw over
that would
middle.
Be big.
Incomplete. Well, a 3 and out would do you well, too, inside the 10. But, again, time's now a factor, a major one for Lancaster. 6 minutes to go.
All right, we have an update. Starpoint is leading Williamsville South 27-21, so that's a big game there. Will South is ahead of Starpoint in the standings. So remember, Starpoint had that upset win over Maritime a couple weeks ago, looking for a bit of another upset.
Starpoint, they fell the next week, right? They beat Maritime, and then they come back home and they lose a stinker the following week. I forget who it was to, but I know it wasn't expected.
They lost to, even last week?
Yes.
They lost to Bennett last week.
There it was. Okay, so
that was a little bit of
story. All right,
yeah.
Apologies.
All right, why don't we head back over to Ken Maurice, where it looks like the Bulldogs just scored. And 2-point conversion here to tie the game. Remember, a couple weeks ago to Amherst, the Tigers scored a 2-point conversion very late in that game to win it. Can the Bulldogs make a 2 to tie it? Go up the middle.
They got it. Oh, let's see what the official says. Bottom of the pile.
Both teams think that they won that end of the battle.
Boy, no instant replay in high school football either. These refs have such a tough job. This is childhoods being shaped in front of your eyes here, folks. The attitudes for an entire school of a week determined by what these 2 part-time officials will say about volunteer officials, we should say as well. They
said no good, no good. So 4:01 to go. Bulldogs still down 2 in that one.
What an awesome moment for Grand Island. Able to pick that up and come back as looks like Lancaster.
Oh, Lancaster has the ball right now, and they're inside the 20. I don't know how that happened. Oh, the punt was bad. It was a bad punt.
Boy, what do we say? The 3 and out would be crucial. Here we go. Stoltz going to fire it over the middle. A good pickup on first down. That might get another first down, but Lancaster's smart here. Look at them. They're getting up there quick. Get to the line. Hurry it up. Under 6 minutes to go. You're down 2 scores. If Lancaster can punch it in here, the game's not over, but they got to do it in 3 or less plays, and really they can only afford to lose another minute. Handoff, Harry. It's who they wanted to. Yeah, Rashard Perry's right there. You're not going to run through Rashard Perry. I've heard running backs say they've learned that the wrong way, where they run into a brick wall at 13 miles an hour, and they just get stopped by the 6'8" freak that is Division I commit.
Okay, now all right, we're going back to Williams Lease. Look at this. This is interesting here. It'll be 4th and about 10 for the Indians with about a minute to go. Indians, I think, have to punt, so one last chance for the Flames in this one. We'll head up back to Lancaster first for 2nd and goal.
Harry again, Met again. Well, see, this is what we knew would happen in this play, or in this game, rather. Micah Harry's the force of the Lancaster offense. Bennett knows that, so they send 8 in the box there, and they come up big on 3rd down. That'll bring up it'll bring up 3rd down, rather. On 2nd down, they run that ball. So a loss of 1, 3rd and 6, as the final 40 are ticking away from Williamsville East. A timeout called by the Indians of West Seneca West, as the Flames will get the ball with less than a minute to go.
All right, that one, yeah, that's going to be 4th down for the Legends. Whether they make this or not, this is still a tight game if you're Lancaster facing this Bennett team, and you have to feel really good about I wouldn't feel overconfident, but you still feel pretty good against facing an Orchard Park team, which had it handed to them against this Bennett team. So you got to feel pretty good about facing Orchard Park and trying to get that 2 seed.
Stolt drops back, throw over the middle, tipped incomplete. That'll change possessions. Although for Lancaster, it's been such a roller coaster for them. They had that Hutch Tech game that we were at a couple weeks ago where they win in dominant fashion at home, but their eyes were on the 3 weeks following. Those 3 weeks were last week against Canisius, this week against Bennett, and next week against Orchard Park. They take care of business against a very good Canisius team, comparison to Lancaster, very evenly matched game. They win that one, and they prove they can win a tough game against one of, if not the, toughest opponent in Western New York, at least not in Section 6. Then they place another team that is a top team in Western New York in Bennett this week. And the Bennett Tigers, they've got aspirations for the Carrier Dome. But for Lancaster, you've got aspirations of winning a sectional title. And you're going to have to run into those Bennett Tigers again later this season. So the fact you're able to hold them to 20 points is massive. It's a confidence booster. It shows you what you can do as a defense. But you knew that already. You knew the defense could do that. At this point, the question mark remains, can Lancaster get it done through the air? And we haven't seen it so far, and at this point in the season, especially in AA, especially with a Bennett in your way of a sectional title, you cannot be a one-dimensional football team offensively and win a sectional title, let alone a state title. We heard Steve McDuffie of Bennett say that himself. They got to pass the ball more so they're not one-dimensional.
All right, meanwhile, going through the air, Sansone throws over the middle, picked off there by the West Seneca West defender, and that will seal the victory for West Seneca West. I'm going to take a look at those standings because I was not expecting this.
Well, now it's a logjam there again in A2.
West Seneca West is 3-2. Williams Elise 3-2. Kenmore West 3-2. Kenmore West right now has the tiebreaker. They've beaten both of those teams, so they momentarily move up to the 2nd seed and would seemingly would clinch as long as they beat North Tonawanda, that 2nd seed, next week, as we're going to head over to Southwestern, where it looks like the Trojans just scored, trying to cut into the Fredonia lead right now.
They get on the board. They put one up, but here's an onside kick opportunity here. I mean, you're going to see after this extra point, 21-6 awaiting the extra point. Still 9 minutes to go in the 4th, but this is a time where you got to slow down Fredonia. A 3-and-out would really help you. Southwestern's got all 3 of their timeouts, so it's not the end of the game just yet, and you had to score there, and you did.
Yeah, it looks like they have all 3 of their timeouts. I wouldn't take that 100%.
Okay.
But it looks like they have all three of their timeouts because Fredonia only has one. But 21-7, not a bad spot for Southwestern. Again, they're going to need to try an onside kick to stay in this one. Really a couple and get a few breaks, but they're still in this one. And if the other thing is you're Southwestern, because you're going to be in a three-way tie now, you want to keep this thing as close as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Because if the margin stays the way it is, let's see, Fredonia, actually, wait a minute. Doing quick math in my head, Fredonia lost that first game, remember, by 10 points. Fredonia's up by 14, so in a three-way, so they would have +4. Mm-hmm. Southwestern is down by 14. They won by 5. So that would be what, -9. -9. Salamanca would be, they lost by 5 in the first game. They beat Fredonia by 5.
So it come down to the Salamanca.
Salamanca Salamanca is +5 right now.
Okay.
In the three-way tie between Fredonia, Southwestern, as I know you're watching right now, the Orchard Park Will North. Between Fredonia, Southwestern, and Salamanca, if these scores hold, it would be Salamanca right now with Salamanca would win that tiebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a logjam at the top of a division in the last 2 weeks of the season. Orchard Park's got to air one out here. They're down 2 scores. I'm sorry, Will North, rather, down 2 scores. They got to have a miracle answered here. But I'd like to go back to Williamsville East and that 8-2 division. So in the next 2 weeks, we spent time talking about McKinley and Will East in Week 8, but it looks like Southwestern just recovered the onside kick.
And it looked like from my trajectory, it was recovered. It was recovered by one of the up men for Southwestern, and there we go, 21-7.
Well, that's what we get for missing the onside kick.
Francis.
I wanted to get the end of the Will North game, but
score quickly here. I would say use no more than 3 minutes of clock. 2 minutes would be acceptable.
Coach
Yeah,
Norm's
like
giving
that was
great
number
advice
16,
here.
Ryan
He's bang on. You've got to get it quick. But he just proved you can get an onside kick.
Matt Cash.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
Right,
that's what you did.
And to be this close in a game where those are the total yardage marks,
Norm, it's getting kind of scary.
you do not deserve to be in a one-score game right now and 50 yards away from making it just that.
Well, now it's go time for Fredonia defense. You need to stop because you can see the moment. You're being out-yarded right now, so you need to get the momentum back quickly.
You don't have to get this touchdown right.
As we're going to keep an eye as well. Why don't we see if we're going to keep a close eye on the Will North Orchard Park game, as well as they're getting ready for the final play. So
Southwestern going deep, incomplete.
All right, we'll head back. 10 seconds to go. Last chance for the Spartans, down 2 scores. Mitch Kelly under pressure. He's going to try to get away, and he'll take off, and that'll be the game. So, 3. Okay, I think the clock stops for the first down.
Either way, I mean, this game's over. Orchard Park's going to win this ball game, be it by 1 score or 2. They'll wind the clock down, and now zeros will finalize 27-13. Orchard Park's win, non-conference, good way to get a non-conference victory to round out the season. Orchard Park, big matchup against Lancaster now next week. I beg your pardon, with Bennett solidifying the number 1 seed, I believe, with the win over Lancaster today.
At least I haven't done that math yet, but I think. Well, no, it's only 2-0 right now. So
wins over Orchard Park and Lancaster.
Wins over Orchard Park at Lancaster. I'm sure they'll do just fine against Hutch-Tech and Niagara Falls.
So you would expect the first seed to be Bennett. Then that game next week, Lancaster Orchard Park. In all likelihood, a matchup leading to the number 2 seed in Double A.
All right, we're back to Grand Island. Or it looks like the Vikings are trying to close this one out. 3rd down and about 45 seconds to go. Vikings up 2 in this one.
Yeah, Grand Island looking for their first win on the season. We've also got eyes on Southwestern on a 3rd and 7 against Fredonia. They're going to pick up the first down and then some. A great move from Matt Panis, the running back who makes the reception on the play, picking up the first down on 3rd down situation. Southwestern's not going anywhere. They're showing why they're 3-0 in the C-South right now.
Yeah, just a great play by Panis. Goes to the outside and just makes a fantastic cut inside. there to move along. You can see the Southwestern offense moving.
Back to Grand Island. The Vikings looking to kill time here, up by 2. They've spread the offense out with just one in the backfield. And here comes the pressure. Handoff up the middle. Unbelievable push from the offensive line, but it's just going to be a minimal gain. The clock will continue to run there, however.
The tide's turning. The mirror.
We bring you back to Southwestern. The Trojans.
Making this a ball game. Oh, what a run up the middle. I don't think we're going to be able to get the instant replay here. But yeah, great run up the middle. And you mentioned Southwestern Trojans right back into this one.
Quickly we go back to Grand Island. The clock's winding down, though. There's not enough time there to get it to zeros. It looks like Grand Island's going to have to snap the ball, though.
I don't know. That clock keeps running.
Matt O'Malley's not happy about it. He's having a chat with the official now, but now we've hit zeros, and that's final. The Grand Island Vikings end the drought. They get their first win on the season at home over a winless Kenmore East Bulldogs team who have lost so many close games this year, but they're just one play away from getting that first win in a few years.
Yeah, you mentioned it. They lost by two points to Amherst a couple of weeks ago. They were close in that South Park game. They really just been close all year long. They just haven't been able to finish off some of these games. They were even,
They were close.
Star Point, Will South.
Mm-hmm.
They were close. These Bulldogs teams have a lot of fight in them. Remember, this is Matt O'Malley's first year as head coach, and at least you can say, he's given these kids a lot of fight, and you haven't been able to quite say that in a while for this team. So, hopefully next year that turns into victories for them and you start to turn this program around.
Well, let's go back to Southwestern
with
Norm Rodriguez
speed.
and Colin Wood.
We'll see if he can get a first few downs, but what a game and how the tides have turned. This makes for some really interesting football.
This is the best kind of football to call. Even though there's going to be blowouts every now and again, shootouts are always exciting. But again, if I'm Nevis Hoos, I'm popping this one deep. You got a lot of time left now. You used only 1 minute and 51 seconds. Kick this deep. Trust the defense. Let's see if they can get them a 3-and-out. And you have plenty of time to score another touchdown. So Hoos about to go total leather again for the Trojans. Here's the kick. This one's a poocher. Not a bad kick. Right to no man's land. It's still live. And, oh, no, they're calling it dead. I thought he was in bounds because after 10 yards, it's a live ball. I thought that was going to be Southwestern ball. Nobody was there for Fredonia. It was right at the Bermuda Triangle, right at no man's land. But I think they're saying the guy that recovered it was out of bounds.
Yeah, you saw Fry and Davis there. They showed no effort from their part. It looked like it went out of bounds. But you saw the Southwestern players. They were streaking down the field trying to recover one of the deepest onside kicks I've ever seen. That rolled out right around looks like the rest standing at the 24, 25-yard line potentially, but huge break for Fredonia there. And if you're Coach Sherlock, you got to put that one behind you because that easily could have put Southwestern in striking distance once again. So here we are, Fredonia at their own 35-yard line. They got to respond to the Trojans striking back.
Let's see what they do. The fans are getting loud here again at Southwestern. Fry takes a snap, he'll throw, and that's caught! Pass complete again to Jamison Quinn. He's had a busy night, and a quick score update. Clymer Sherman Pamo, the Wolfpack, they're playing Frewsburg on the road. CSP's up 41-7 after 3 quarters of play. They're looking to avenge their 9-3 loss to Portville during their homecoming game last week.
So let's go through our final scores. on that game in the third quarter. Here you get another live look.
I
Looks
think
like
you just saw an interception.
Southwestern just picked that one off at their own 20. So go over to this live stream and watch Southwestern and Fredonia. That we'll have on Thursday night in Week 8 on our network, that may determine whether or not they make the playoffs.
Yeah, let's look at, we have the standings up here. You can look at this A2 division. You see Williams-Lease 3, and, McKinley's up top after that win. Williams-Lease about to go to 3-2. Kenmore West at 3-2. They only have now North Tonawanda next week. They win that one. They're set at 4-2 with wins right now. Over
Williamsville East.
Yeah,
mainly.
you can see that over Williamsville East and West Seneca West. They beat them in week 2. And they're only one of their losses, they lost to McKinley and then they lost to Sweet Home, who has 3 losses and is pretty much out of it. So everything's seemingly going right now for the Kenmore West Blue Devils to get the 2 seed and guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs.
You mentioned the Sweet Home Panthers there. Though they did lose to McKinley last night, they can still make a difference in this division. West Seneca West has them next week. So if Sweet Home can go to West Seneca West on senior night and take down the Indians, it kind of throws things off again. It helps Kenmore West. It helps Williamsville East. You'll see how
it
that
helps
shakes
Williamsville
out.
East. It helps Williamsville East. It doesn't make a difference for West.
Okay.
But it does. It would help Williamsville East because they could then West Seneca West would have 3 losses. Will East would only have 2, but you're Will East. You're still in trouble. You still got McKinley coming up.
Right.
Let me just look at Williamsville East, see if they have another league game in their midst. They have Hutchchuck next week, so their last league game is going to be. They have 1 league game up against McKinley, which, we were talking before. That's between possibly winning the division. They need to win that game now to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah.
To try to sneak in as a 7th or 8th seed in the A playoffs. This is a team we were talking before, just a few weeks ago, as a possible, one top seed in this A playoffs. Now they might not even make the playoffs whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, and just not to cut you off here, but they've got Hutch Tech next week, and that can be looked at as, non-league game doesn't mean much. That is a massive game for Williams.
They need to figure out a way to reset.
They need to win a football game.
Yeah.
They haven't done it in 3 weeks. They haven't done it in the month of October. They need to win a football game next week to get things back on track, because you don't want to head into Week 8 with 3 losses to your credit, one of them non-league, yes, but you don't want to head into your game against McKinley for a playoff spot potentially, 3 losses in the hole.
And, why don't we go to A3 really quick? I mean, Star Point was up in that game. Do we know if they're still up? Can we get another check on the Star Point Will South game? We know that game was on Spectrum, so we're going to see if there's an update. Their last update, Star Point was up in that one. You see Will South is right now, was the 3 seed in that one, 2-1 record. They go to 2-2.
34-21.
34-21. So Star Point's going to walk to their third victory. Gives Will South their second loss. Now they have losses to Maritime and Star Point, and they still have South Park coming up. So now you're a Will South team, and you need to beat South Park.
Well, and that's such now a logjam there in the middle of A3.
Lucky for them, they have Grand Island their final week, but they really need to beat South Park in order to keep their hopes alive.
A hungry South Park team at that, who lost today at Fredonia, or at Pioneer. A non-league loss that won't hurt them. South Park can still go undefeated in the league play, but now Star Point's 3-2. Amherst is 3-3. South, that's Williamsville South, is 2-2, all in league play. Grand Island picks up a win. They're even 1-3 now, not completely out of it, but most likely out of it. But Grand Island picking up that win brings them, that middle 4 of the A3 bracket is completely tied up. They got to figure out a way. Boy, if you're Williamsville East, though, you just keep coming back to that A2 class. Until next week, Thursday, from East Aurora, Holland, where they're welcoming in the Albion Purple Eagles, who may be coming off a big win against Cheektowaga.
Well,
here
last
today.
update, it was Albion just scored, so they're now back up 2 scores, so they should take the victory in that one.
So, yeah, I'm pumped for that Thursday night game. Albion at East Aurora, Holland. It's senior day. It's homecoming. It's all the fun festivities when you get into October football. But, Francis, I think we made it out of Week 6.
Yeah, so for Jack Cruiser, I'm Francis Beck. Thank you for tuning in tonight, Friday Night Final Drive. Southwestern Fredonia happening now. Niagara Wakefield, Kenmore West tomorrow at 2. Thanks for watching.
Life can be full of surprises, but not always the good kind. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care, and we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.